Sri Hari Sri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Asatara Satasi Simad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai Om Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Asatara Satasi Simad Srila Bhakti Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj Ki Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Bhakti Daitya Madhav Maharaj Ki Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Nityulila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada Ki Nityulila Pravishta Paramhansa Babaji Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Nityulila Pravishta Saptam Goswami Sachidananda Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Nityulila Pravishta Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Sri Rup Sri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Guru Ki Sri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Gaur Parishad Vrinda Ki Namacharya Sila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Keho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Sri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Radha Samanatmakam Sri Brajamandala Dhama Ki Sri Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Jamuna Ganga Tulasi Bhakti Devi Ki Shri Jagannath Baldeva Subhadra Surishan Chakraju Ki Shri Purushadam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Sri Sarva Vigna Vinasana Nisingha Bhagavan Ki Bhakta Pravar Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Chara Sampradaya Charya Ki Akadamat Sri Chaitanya Mata Ki Sri Radha Gokulananda Temple in Sydney, Texas Ki Sri Gita Jayanti Ki Sri Krishna Arjun Sacred Conversation Bhagavat Gita Ki Sri Harinam Prabhu Ki Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Navela Bhakta Vrinda Ki Go Premanande Hari Hari
Jai Shri Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Ki
We just have 3 minutes left. If he wants to start at 6:30. If you wanted to sing it, pray no in Tulsi Puja, we just do Tulsi Puja.
Huh?
Well, we're just discussing, we don't have time for Nishingadev and Tulsi Puja.
No, you can do Nishringadev and Tulsi Puja. People are just collecting now.
Okay. Namaste, Narasimha, Hiranyakasi, Rakshana, Sri प्रिया के साथ
कृष्ण भक्ति
Vasudevaya Priya Kesavaskatya Krishna Bhakti Pradya Devi Satyavati Namo Namaha.
धन्यवाद महाराज जी
Dandavat Pranam Vaishnava. Is this on? This is not on.
I don't know how to turn it on.
All right.
I don't know how to use it. Yeah.
Who's supposed to turn? Who can turn this on? Jai. Where's Prabhupada's Gita? And Gurudev's Gita? You were going to have both of those ready for me?
There was one out, but now I got crammed up.
Jai Ananga Mohini. How are you?
Good. I'm not feeling well.
Not feeling well,
Yeah.
but you're coming anyway.
Well, I just came to get her.
You came to get-
She has to go.
She has to go. Who's she?
My mom. So
Oh, your
I
mom.
came
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get her
Oh,
water
you have to
bottle.
take her. Okay, okay.
Yeah, and then I have to go watch the kids.
Okay.
I'll watch the live stream.
Are your kids feeling better?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
I'll watch the.
All right. Okay, so is it on now? This microphone? I don't know if you can do your live stream and my live stream at the same time.
Internet's pretty good. I can double check the strength of it.
Hello, Hare Krishna.
Was it Spanish? Oh. I knew that. I always grabbed the Spanish one. That's probably Spanish too, Maharaj.
Srimad Bhagavat Gita.
El Español.
Comprenden que Sri Bhagavan acepta un nacimiento trascendente y ejecuta. Ejecuta, is it correct? I say ejecuta? No?
So which one is
Actividades.
Actividades?
Okay.
Do we have one of
Hare Krishna. Arjuna is laughing because I'm speaking Spanish. Can you hear me now? What happened? Hello.
If you speak too loud.
Oh, if I
it cuts
speak
off.
too loud. Can you hear me now? Is the voice loud enough on the computer for everyone? Please show me by your Hare Krishna. Shari Deskanio says Hare Krishna. It is loud enough. What about everyone else? What about Ramadasi? Can you hear me? Was it Ramadasi or Ramadasi? Very good, Arjuna. Arjuna says very good. Rama Devi Dasi and Rabi Rohini Dulao. Very good. Okay. Brilliant, Maharaj. We can hear very nicely. All right. Then I'm happy if you can hear. Hearing is important. So we don't have Gurudev's Gita, huh?
No, all of them are in Spanish, so I can find.
They're all in Spanish.
You want to see one?
We take your Spanish.
Just sit down there. I gotta take care of this.
You are welcome, Rama Devi. Okay. Jai. Gita Jayanti ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudeva ki jai. So there is a prayer that comes from the Puranas, that and a prayer that comes there's a prayer that's done by Adi Shankara. Adi Shankaracharya. Gita Mahatmya by Adi Shankaracharya. We're going to read this. I'm going to read this now. This is, I'm reading this because once when Srila Narayan Maharaj was in Houston, there was a person who was a very learned scholar and a follower of Shankaracharya. He had written a book he called Bhagavat Gita for the New Youth of America, the Indian youth of America. So he was a very big scholar. And he came to speak with Srila Narayan Maharaj, and Srila Narayan Maharaj, he came to argue. He was in a very rough mood, you know. So he came, and when he came, he Srila Gurudev treated him with great respect. He got a very beautiful chair, and he put a cloth on it. That's a sign of respect. When you put a cloth on the chair, it means that that person is being properly honored, that he's sitting in a chair, he's sitting on something that is exclusively for him. And so they put the cloth on the chair, and he had the guy sit down, and the man said, I've been speaking with your disciples, and they told me that they reject Shankaracharya, that they don't accept Shankaracharya. What kind of thing is this? So, Srila Gurudev looked at me and said, no. He said, Shankaracharya is our guru. We accept Shankaracharya. So then the man, you could see all the fight left his demeanor. You know, he was no longer in the mood of anger. He was now prepared to listen to what Gurudev had to say. So now Srila Gurudev started to speak to him, and he told him about the glories of Shankaracharya's teachings. And one of the things he spoke about was this Gita Mahatmya of Adi Shankara, glorifying the Gita and glorifying Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Gita Shastram Midam Punyam Yapatet Prayata Pumam Vishnu Padam Avapnoti Bhaya Shokadivarjita. One who with a regulated mind recites with devotion this Bhagavad Gita scripture, which is the bestower of all virtue, will attain to the holy abode such as Vaikuntha, the residence of Lord Vishnu, which is always free from the mundane qualities based on fear and lamentation. Gita Dhyayana Shilasya Pranayama Parasya Cha Naiva Shanti Papani Purva Janma Kritani Cha. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. Maline mochanam pumsam jala snanam dine dine sakrit gitam ritam snanam samsara malanashanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, For him, the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Gita sugita kartavya kim manyai shastra vistarai yasvayam padmanabhasya mukha padma vinishrita. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people who are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literature, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bharatamrita sarvasvam Vishnu Vaktrad Vinishritam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanma Vidyate. By drinking the Ganges water of the Gita, the divine quintessence of the Mahabharata emanating from the holy lotus mouth of Sri Krishna, Lord Vishnu, Sri Krishna, one will never take rebirth in the material world again. In other words, by devotionally reciting the Gita, the cycle of birth and death is terminated. Sarvopani Shada Gavo Dogda Gopalanandana Partha Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitam Ritam Mahat. All the Upanishads are like a cow. The milker of the cow is Gopal, Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Arjuna is the calf. The beautiful nectar of the Gita is the milk. And the fortunate devotees of fine theistic intellect are the drinkers and enjoyers of that milk. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantras Tasya Namami Yani Karmapya Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. It was a different meter, I forgot. There need to be only one holy scripture, the divine Gita, sung by Lord Sri Krishna. Only one worshipable Lord, Lord Sri Krishna. Only one mantra, his holy names. And only one duty, devotional service unto the supreme worshipable Lord, Sri Krishna. Devaki Putra. Devaki is another name for Yashoda. So Devaki Putra, Gitam. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra, Gitam. There is one scripture. Shastra. Ekam Shastra. One Shastra. This is the Gita sung by Lord Krishna, Devaki Putra Gitam. He sings Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki Yasoda, is singing it. That is Krishna. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. There is only one Lord to worship. Devaki Putra, the son of Lord of Yashoda. Eko Mantras Tasya Namami Yani. Only one mantra to chant the holy name of Krishna. Karmapya Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. And only one duty, Bhakti Yoga, devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, the worshipable Lord Sri Krishna. So this is the, you can hear, but usually Maharaj is Maharaj is easier to hear. Is it possible to turn the mic up more or something to that effect? You're not hearing well enough. I see. Okay. It is. We'll see what we can do. I'll try to talk louder. If I talk too loud, the mic cuts out. Okay, so this is the verse by. This is the verses, 7 verses by Adi Shankaracharya glorifying the Bhagavad Gita, which I thought I would read to you at the beginning of this. So let's talk about what does it mean, Gita Jayanti. So this is Ekadashi. So on this Ekadashi day, this was the 11th day of the fighting. Actually, the fighting began 11 days earlier in the Mahabharata. And therefore, Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna 11 days earlier than today. He didn't speak it today. So why is this important? Well, because it shows some important things about Krishna's devotee, Sanjaya. What happens today, on the 11th day, what happens is that the great warrior fighting on the side of the Kauravas, Bhishma, is shot with the arrows, and Bhishma falls on the battlefield. And now Dhritarashtra becomes very concerned, because his whole conception of how his sons were going to win the battle was based on Bhishma, because Bhishma was the indefatigable and undefeatable warrior. And therefore, because Bhishma was the great hope of Dhritarashtra to fight the battle and win the battle for his sons, he became very concerned. So when he got news in the palace that Bhishma had been killed, he called for Sanjaya to explain to him what was going on. Now, Sanjaya was the disciple of Vyasadeva. And being the disciple of the Vyasadeva, he was blessed, he was given divine vision, divya drishti. And with that vision, he was able to see the past, the present, and the future, and he was able to see things that were happening at a distance. So, therefore, when Dhritarashtra heard about this, he called Sanjaya and he asked, Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samavetaya Yutsavaha, Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva, Kimakuravata Sanjaya, that what are my sons and the sons of Pandu doing on this sacred field, Dharmakshetre, on the field of Dharma? He was concerned because he knew that his sons were adharmic. So he was very concerned that my sons are not very religious people. They are not very dharmic. They have committed many bad actions. And this battle is taking place on Dharmak Kshetra. Kshetra means field, Dharma, the field of Dharma. Dharmak Kshetra, Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is a dharmic field. Samaveta Yuyutsava. Yuyutsava means they are prepared for Yuyutsa, war. Yudha. Yutsavaha. Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva. Mamaka, my sons, and Pandavas Chaiva, the sons of Pandu, are prepared to do Yuyutsava, war. Kimakuravata Sanjaya. What did they do? What did they do? The Sanskrit vocabulary, grammar here is important, because the Sanskrit grammar is, he's asking what did they do? Means that this is something from the past, okay? Something that happened in the past. So he's not talking about what's happening right now. He wants to know that in the beginning, when this battle first started, what happened? And so now, Sanjaya is going to tell him about Arjuna and how Arjuna requests Krishna to take him to the middle of the battlefield so he can see. Please take me to the middle of the battlefield so I can see everyone who is prepared to fight with me on this day. And Arjuna becomes very overwhelmed. I see cousins, brothers, uncles, grandfathers, teachers, family, friends, everyone arrayed here on the battlefield, prepared to fight against me. He said, I'm very, very shaken by this. So he starts trying to find excuses. He makes excuses to Krishna. Why should we fight this battle? Why should we have a battle against those who are dear to us? It says in the Vedas that one should not kill. And it also says that one should honor, not to hurt, to not kill the grandparents or the teachers, the gurus, and the elders of society. Because when the elders of society are killed, the women are not protected, and then there's unprotected women bring about unwanted progeny. So like this, he started offering so many different arguments. And Krishna dismissed them. Why? Because these were all religious and sub-religious principles. Krishna didn't want to hear religious and sub-religious principles. He was not interested in that. Why you are giving me this information? Why you are speaking with me about thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not fight, thou should be nonviolent, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Why are you speaking all these things? These are all religious and sub-religious principles. I'm not concerned with that. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for that which is not worthy of grief. Krishna very clearly chastises Arjuna for his lack of understanding about the gravity of the situation which is taking place on the battlefield. So, what happens? Krishna wants him to fight this battle. What he really wants is that Arjuna should not argue with him about this. That Arjuna should not have any qualms about doing this. You know, Arjuna had come to a point where he laid down his bows and arrows and he said, I will not fight. I'd rather die unarmed and unresisting. I turn the other cheek, as Jesus says. No. You are speaking learned words, high moral, religious and sub-religious principles. But all these things you are grieving for are not worthy of grief. What I want, what I need from you is to surrender to me and to fight this battle. Because you are my instrument. You are my instrument to remove the people who are the obstacles to the spreading of Dharma at this particular time in this planet. It's a very, very important. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. I come to Paritranaya sadhunam, protect the sadhus, and vinashaya, destroy the duskrita, those who are the evildoers. But Krishna doesn't do directly. What he does is he uses Arjuna as his sword. So what is he asking Arjuna to do? He's saying, oh Arjuna, I want you to teach the world bhakti. I want you to teach the world that when you do bhakti, there's no obstacle, that nothing can get in the way of your performing bhakti. I want you to teach that by your actions. So therefore, I want you to take a sword and bows and arrows and kill all your relatives. Your grandfather, your teacher, your uncle, your cousins, your brothers, everybody. I want you to kill them all, and I want you to do it with love in your heart for me. How difficult that is. If Krishna asked you, here, Prabhu, take this sword. Kill your mother, kill your father, kill your family, kill your children, kill everybody. Huh? But don't just kill them. This is not about revenge. This is not about anger, vengeance. About love. You're doing it out of love for me. How complicated is that? Why Krishna is making this criteria, this particular situation? Because he wants to establish that, you know what? There's no excuse. Don't tell me you can't do bhakti. Don't tell me you can't do your bhakti because of this thing or that thing or the other thing, that this obstacle or that obstacle or this problem in your life or that problem in your life. Don't tell me that. Because Arjuna did bhakti. He did bhakti in the most difficult and complicated situation. He murdered his grandfather. He murdered Bhishma. Bhishma is the grandsire of the whole lineage. In the West, we don't have such kind of affection for these elderly people in the society. But in India, killing your grandfather is not possible. He was not just the grandfather, he was the grandsire. Even Dhritarashtra and Pandu and everybody, they were all beholden to Bhishma. Bhishma was the king of the kings. But he never accepted the kingship out of a vow that he made, which we won't go into that story now. So, what is going on here? Krishna is trying to show us, don't give me any excuse. I have shown you that under the most difficult circumstances, Arjuna was able to execute pure devotional service with love in his heart, even while he was killing his relatives. This is one of the most important messages of Bhagavad Gita, and we should remember it. Then, we also have, I'm going to go sort of like an overview on the book, because that's what we're doing today, is Gita Jayanti. So in the second chapter, then what does Krishna do? Krishna gives knowledge about you're not this body, that you're the soul. In all the scriptures of the world, there is no scripture that more clearly and concisely and succinctly explains that you are not the body, you are the soul, than what is being done right here in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. It is one of the best, it is a tour de force of wisdom about the difference between matter and spirit and the control over both, which is called Sankhya. So in the 39th chapter, the 39th verse of the second chapter, then Krishna says to Arjuna, now I have explained Sankhya. I have explained the difference between matter and spirit. I have told you that you're not the body. You're the soul, that you're eternal, that your soul is never burned or cut or withered by wind or destroyed by any weapon. It's eternal. It never dies. That your body changes, but like clothes, but you never change. You're changeless and supreme. You are the soul. You are the eternal, undying, unborn soul. So he explains this. He says, now I've explained Sankhya to you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain Buddhi Yoga. This is the 39th verse. This is a key verse in the second chapter. Why Buddhi Yoga? Because Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, is about how, Krishna says, how to become detached from the fruit of your work. How can you become detached from the fruit of your work if you think that you're the body? If you think that you're the physical body, then you want the fruits of your work. Oh, I did this work. I want the fruit. I want the money or the property or whatever it is that I did, the crop. You can't be detached from the fruit of your work if you think that you're the body and you own that work and that you're responsible for doing that work. It's not like that. So, therefore, first Krishna had to teach him about not being the body. Then he was teaching him how to become detached from this material body. Detached from the fruits of the work of this material body and the mind. And to give the fruits to him with love and devotion. So this is Buddhi Yoga. Now, in the 54th verse of the second chapter, Krishna is describing to Arjuna what is a person who can understand. When your intelligence, this is the 53rd verse, when your intelligence becomes detached, we're reading from Srila Narayana Maharaj's Gita, when your intelligence becomes detached from hearing various interpretations of the Vedas, and when it becomes free from all other attachments, while remaining steadfast in Param Ishvara, then you will attain the fruit. Then you will attain the fruit of yoga. So now, Krishna has been describing the nature of a person who is stita prajna, who is completely fixed in yoga. So now, Arjuna asked this question, O Keshava, what are the symptoms of a person whose intelligence is fixed in samadhi? How does he speak? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So this is the first question. Arjuna is now asking the first of 16 questions. So those of you who have Srila Narayana Maharaj's Gita, it's very important in this purport of verse 54. He lays out all the 16 questions that Arjuna asks throughout the Gita. And this drives the narrative of the Gita, okay? The narrative of the Gita is Arjuna's questions and Krishna's answers. This is how we follow the construct of the narrative of the Gita. So this is an important verse. Make a note of it in your notes. Make a record that verse 54 of the second chapter and the purport by Srila Narayana Maharaj, which lists all of the 16 questions that Arjuna will ask throughout the Gita, which helps to drive the narrative and explain, which helps to give the impetus to Krishna to explain the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So very important verse. Srila Gurudev's Gita commentary is very valuable. You know, back in the time of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had written one commentary on the Gita. And his commentary was written for the purpose of trying to help the people who were Gaudiya Vaishnavas understand the value of Bhagavad Gita in Rupanuga Bhajan. The problem with the followers of Rupa Goswami at the time was they were dismissing the Gita. They didn't think it was valuable as far as Rasa Tattva was concerned. And so he gave them a insight into the Rasa Tattva conceptions that were in the Gita when he wrote it. And when he wrote his commentary. So now that was very valuable, and yet his Shiksha disciple Baldev Vijabhushan wrote a commentary on Gita that didn't touch on those things. Baldev Vijabhushan was the great sannyasi from Udupi. He had lived in the Madhvacharya Mats. He took initiation and he took sannyas in Madhvacharya Mats. And he read Vedanta Sutra of Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya. So he was a very brilliant scholar. He spoke fluent Sanskrit and several other languages, Bengali, Oriya, etc. And one of the great disciples, grand disciples of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur met with Baldev Vijabhushan. And he explained to him Gaudiya Vedanta Siddhanta. And when he heard about Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva, when Baldev Vijabhushan heard of this Siddhanta of the Vedanta, known as Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva, which is different from Dvaita and Vishishta Dvaita of Madhva and Ramanuja, he then converted to Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He became initiated by Ramakrishna Das. And then he went to live with Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and take Shiksha from him. So he became the direct Shiksha disciple of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. His commentary on Gita is heavily based on Ramanuja and Madhvacharya's explanations of how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that Brahman is not the supreme perfection. It's not Nirvishesh, but a Savishesh. So, when this commentary came out, some people, in ignorance may think, why Baldev Vijabhushan wrote this comment? Because it had value. It had great value in teaching people. And what is the value? Prabhupada used the commentaries of Baldev Vijabhushan to explain his own Gita. He says in the beginning of the book that this book is written for Sri Baldev Vijabhushan. This book is written for Sri Baldev Vijabhushan, who presented so nicely the Govinda Bhashya commentary on Vedanta philosophy. So using those conceptions that Baldev Vijabhushan presented in his commentaries, Prabhupada presented his commentary. And Narayan Maharaj, when he wrote his book, he wrote the commentary, the full translated commentary of Baldev of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and he also wrote his own commentary with a translation of some of the commentary of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we have in Gurudev's book 3 commentaries, Prabhupada's book another commentary. And what Srila Prabhupada brings to the table is a kind of fluid consistency that makes it easy for the newcomer who first studies this subject matter to understand that whenever any sacrifice is made, when a person offers the fruit of his work in karma yoga or jnana yoga or astanga yoga or in bhakti yoga, at any point, Prabhupada says, this is Krishna consciousness. He unifies everything. He creates a uniform narrative that it's all Krishna consciousness. If you make a sacrifice of the fruit of your work, it's Krishna consciousness. And the uniformity of that creates a narrative by which a newcomer to the cultural concepts of Gita can understand Bhagavad Gita in a way that would not be possible if they're thrown so many Sanskrit words. Srila Narayan Maharaj, in the same verses where Prabhupada said, oh, this is Krishna consciousness, Narayan Maharaj is saying, well, this is a rope siddha bhakti, or this is Sangha siddha bhakti, or this is karma Mishra bhakti, or this is Gyan Mishra bhakti. Like this, Sangha siddha bhakti, Narayan Maharaj is giving us details about the exact nature of the mixture of bhakti that is being performed by the individual. Why is he giving this? Because we started 50 years ago with Prabhupada's Gita, where he said everything is Krishna consciousness. Now Gurudev is giving the details, very important details. What are those details? The details are the different levels and stages of bhakti, so that we can understand what platform we're on, where we're going to, where we've come from. Very important information. So is when people say, I questioned when Narayan Maharaj first presented his Gita commentary. Why? We have Gita as it is. We don't need any other Gita commentary. But then I understood by his association and reading the book and seeing the valuable information he was presenting, that his commentary brought so much to the table, so valuable. And later I came to read a conversation where Srila Prabhupada told Pradumna and Satsvarupa and some of the others that we don't just have to have my Gita. He said Ramanujacharya did a commentary on the Gita, and Baldev Vijabhushan did a commentary on the Gita, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur did a commentary on the Gita, and we can do all those Gitas because all of them have valuable information. So Srila Prabhupada himself wanted that this commentary should come out. And that's what Srila Narayan Maharaj said. I know, Srila Gurudev used to say, that your Guru Maharaj would want you to know these things. That's why I'm presenting them. So he did us such a great service, such a great benediction, such a great blessing on us. And so both these Gitas are very valuable. And I find this verse 54 commentary where the 16 questions are listed as very valuable because it gives us an overview. Okay, this is how the Gita is set up. These are what the questions are. These are how Krishna is going to explain Bhagavad Gita, responding to the questions of Arjuna. You see it there in your Spanish Gita, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, another way of understanding how the Gita is structured is to see that the Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections. Does anyone know about that? I've talked about this before, right? 3 sections. What are the 3 sections, Mr. Dhananjaya?
1 through 6,
Yeah.
6 through 12, 12 through 18.
Yes.
He's progressing up.
Srila Prabhupada used to say that the first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters are like the covers of the book, and the middle 6 chapters of the book. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the first 6 chapters are Karma Yoga, and the last 6 are Jnana Yoga, and the middle 6 are Bhakti Yoga. And Srila Gurudev used to say that, Srila Gurudev used to say that the first 6 chapters are like the treasure chest, and the last 6 chapters are like the cover of the treasure chest, and the middle 6 chapters are the jewels in the treasure chest. And this is a analogy that is actually used by Ramanuja in his commentary. So Gurudev gives us that in his commentary. So here we see different ways of looking at this conception. So with Karma Yoga, some people may question, well, in the first 6 chapters we have Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Astanga Yoga, etc., Sankhya Yoga. Why he's saying first 6 chapters Karma Yoga? Because in all of these activities, you perform an action, you offer some fruit to Krishna, which is good, but then you expect something for yourself. Even the yogis who are doing Astanga Yoga, they're asking like that. Okay, I will meditate, I will offer the inhalation and the exhalation, I will do this meditation, all these different things, but when I do the pranayama, but what I want is to merge into your effulgence, or I want to become one with your four-armed form. So there's some desire to be God. So offering the fruit, but wanting something for the self. This is Karma Yoga. So all those 6 chapters, that is the essence of their teachings. Then the last 6 chapters is to teach us, because in the 12th chapter when he explains about the process of Raganuga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti, and offering the fruit of your work in Bhakti, and doing welfare work, it becomes clear that most of society, only maybe 2% of society is doing Raganuga Bhakti. And the rest of society is at best offering some of their work, working for Krishna, doing something for Krishna. So, what happens? Since most of society has to live in the world while they're cultivating their bhakti, they have to understand how the world works. So the 13th chapter talks about nature, the enjoyer, and consciousness. It talks about the material nature, what is its construct, and what the field is, the knower of the field, the senses, the material, the spiritual, okay? So it gives you an idea of what you're dealing with when living in this world. Then after that, in the 14th chapter, they explain the modes of material nature. What is Tamagun, Rajagun, and Sattvagun? Then, after that, in the 15th chapter, it explains how this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. That everything that's in the spiritual world is in the material world, but it's a reflection. Then, after that, in the 16th chapter, it explains about the proper association, the divine and the demoniac nature, how to associate with people who are inspired by divinity, and how to avoid the association of people who are demoniac. Then, in the 17th chapter, it explains about actions in the modes of nature. Charity in the mode of goodness, mode of ignorance, the mode of passion. Austerity in the mode of goodness, the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion. So that you get an idea of how to behave consistently in the mode of goodness so that you can transcend the material nature easily. And then, in the 18th chapter, there is a discussion on Varnashram and an overview of the conceptions, and then the final surrender. So, that's gyan, that's knowledge. Knowledge about how to live in the world while you're practicing Vaidhi Bhakti. Now, the middle 6 chapters are Bhakti. The 7th chapter is about Sambandha Gyan. How to have a relationship with Krishna. And in the 8th chapter, it is Prayojan Tattva. What is the goal? To go to the supreme abode. And the 9th chapter is about process. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji nam namaskaru. That always think of me, always worship me, always be my devotee. So process is given, abhideya. Now we come to the 10th, 11th, and 12th chapter, which are very important chapters. The 10th chapter is Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti Yoga is the explanation of the opulences of the Absolute. And after he describes these opulences, then in the 11th chapter of the Gita, he displays the opulences by displaying his universal form. He also demonstrates by the display of his universal form that the universal form comes from the four-armed form, and the four-armed form comes from the two-armed form, and so that the greatest form is the two-armed form, okay? The two-armed form of Devaki Putra, Krishna, the son of Yasoda. Then, after that, and then it's established that the two-armed form cannot be seen by any other process but bhakti. Naham Vederna tapasana danena na chejaya sakyam evam vidam drastam sakyam evam vido drastam drashtavam asimam yata. You cannot see me by studying the Vedas, this two-armed form, by studying the Vedas, offering sacrifices, doing ritualistic puja, doing charity, giving in charity. And none of these processes can help you, or doing any kind of austerity. None of that can help you to see me. You can only see me bhaktya tvananyaya shakya, by ananya bhakti, undivided devotional service. Gnatvam drashtam tatvena. Then you can know me, gnatvam drashtam, see me, tatvena, in truth, praveshtancha parantapa, and enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So now in this 11th chapter, he establishes that the supreme form is the two-armed form, and that bhakti is the supreme process for knowing that two-armed form. Now, the 12th chapter opens up with Arjuna's question. Okay, so which is better? Should we worship on the unmanifested form, the Brahman, or on your manifested two-armed form with bhakti? Which should we do? And then Krishna very clearly states, do bhakti to my two-armed form that is superior to worshiping my unmanifested form. He says, Tikataraste sham, avyakta shakta chetasam, Klesho dikatarastesham avyakta shakta chetasam. Avyakta here, avyakta here, dukam, dukkha. It is full of difficulty to worship the unmanifested form of Krishna. Klesho dikatarastesham shakta chetasam. Avyakta hi gatir dukam. Full of dukkha. Many, many difficulties are there in trying to worship the unmanifested form. Better you worship the manifest form. So now, he's not only established that bhakti to the two-armed form is the highest process. He's not only established that bhakti to the two-armed form is the best worship of all the forms, but it's better than the worship of the unmanifested as well. So now all of this is established. And then in verses 6, 7, and 8, Krishna tells how to perform Raganuga Bhakti. And then in verse 9, Vaidhi Bhakti. And then 10, how to offer the fruit of your work just by working for Krishna. So like this, now we get an idea. And so this is the overall context of the Gita. Now, I want to talk about this one section of Gita, because in the 10th chapter is the Chatur Shloki. The Chatur Shloki means that these 4 verses are the essence of the Gita, okay? The essence of the Gita. All the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is contained in 4 verses, right here. Now, there's different ways of explaining these verses. I'm getting tired. Okay. Come on. So, there's different ways of explaining these verses. One aspect of explaining these verses is to look at them from the view of Advaita Gyan Paratattva. And the other way is to look at it from the view of Rasa Tattva. And Srila Prabhupada's choice in explaining these verses is to talk about it from the perspective of Advaita Gyan Paratattva. He's explaining it from the perspective of how it is Krishna's vibhuti, his opulence. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. This is 10th chapter, verse number 8. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti madhva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samandita. So, what is this verse saying? Prabhupada translates this verse into English by saying, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know me, who know this perfectly, engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So in this way, Krishna is, Prabhupada is using Advaita Gyan Paratattva to explain the opulence of Krishna. And in his purport, he quotes so many verses from the Vedas, showing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. All the Vedic literature agree that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, it is said, Yo Brahmanam Vaidati Purvam Yo Vai Vedam Chagapati Sma Krishna. It was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge, and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again it is said, Ata Purusho Havai Narayano, Kamayata Pragya Shreja Itya Upakramya. Then the Supreme Personality Narayan desired to create living entities. Again it is said, Narayanad Brahmad Jayate, Narayanad Prajapati, Prajayate Narayanad, Indro Jayate Narayanad Astav Vasavo Jayante, Narayanad Ekadasha Rudra Jayante, Narayanad Dvadasha Ditya. From Narayan, Brahma is born, and from Narayan, the patriarchs are also born. From Narayan, Indra is born. From Narayan, the 8 Vasus are born. From Narayan, the 11 Rudras are born. From Narayan, the 12 Adityas are born. So, like this, he is emphasizing how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. It is said in the same Vedas, Brahmanyo Devaki Putra. Devaki is another name for Yasoda. So the son of Devaki, Yasoda, Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then he quotes still another verse from the Vedas. In the beginning of the creation, there was only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, no fire, no moon, no stars in the sky, no sun. There was only Krishna, who creates all and enjoys all. So in this way, Prabhupada uses this verses to explain the understanding of Krishna from the point of view of Advaigyan Paratattva. Okay? Now, interestingly, let's see how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur deals with this in his commentary. While explaining his vibhutis, majestic feature, which is characterized by supreme Aishwarya, Sri Bhagavan says, I am the original cause and the source of everything material and spiritual. Inspired by my Antaryami Swarup, the whole universe engages in work, and by the inspiration coming from my avatars, such as Narda, all become engaged in the sadhana, practice of bhakti, jnana, tapasya, and karma, etc., and the sadhya, the attainment of the respective goals. So in defining Ekantika Bhakti Yoga, Sri Bhagavan says, Iti Matva, being fixed in this type of theistic knowledge and endowed with bhav, such as dasya bhav and sakya bhav, servitorship and friendship. Those who perform my bhajan are panditas, those who know the essence of the Vedas. So now we see from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary in Gurudev's Gita that now he's taking it into the Rasa Tattva area, talking about Dasya Bhav and Sakya Bhav, etc. Okay? Very good. And Srila Gurudev actually quotes one of the verses from the Varaha Purana that Prabhupada quotes. And so he does a little mixture of Advaigyan Paratattva with Rasa Tattva. Now I want to introduce you to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Because the way he translates the verse and the commentary that he gives is so beautiful, because he really shines a spotlight on Rasata. And my godbrother Achyutananda was with Prabhupada when Prabhupada went to when Srila Prabhupada went to speak with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, they asked everyone to leave the room, all the disciples, so they could discuss these 4 verses of Gita that Srila Sridhar Maharaj wrote and his commentaries. And when Prabhupada came downstairs, my godbrother Achyutananda, you know Achyutananda, he asked it for Srila Prabhupada, so what did you speak about? And he said, we spoke about Bhagavad Gita. He said, "Oh, can you tell me what you discussed about Bhagavad Gita?" He said, "If I told you, you would die." But now, all these years later, it has come out, so we can see it and we can understand it. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj's way, the way he translates this verse, aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samavita. How he's translating, I am Krishna, the sweet absolute. I am the root cause of all the comprehensive aspects of the absolute. I am the all-pervading aspect of the absolute. And I am also the personal aspect of the absolute, the master of all potencies, who commands the respect of everyone, Lord Narayan of Vaikuntha. The universe of mundane and divine flow, every attempt and movement, the Vedas and allied scriptures which guide everyone's worship, all are initiated by me alone. Realizing this hidden treasure, the virtuous souls who are blessed with fine theistic intellect surpass the standards of duty and non-duty and embrace the paramount path of love divine, Rag Marg, and adore me forever. So he translates Bhava as meaning Ragamarga, spontaneous devotion. And later in this purport, he explains that Radhadasyam, the servitorship of Srimati Radharani, is indicated here in this verse. Only those who are blessed with divine intelligence will be able to appreciate this, and not persons of self-acquired intelligence from this Mayak quarter, the world of misconception. In this verse, the word Buddha refers to Sumedasha, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. You know this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. I'll answer that question later. Rama Devi, let me answer that question later because I'm speaking, otherwise it interrupts my flow. So, that verse, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam. Sankirtanam Prayer Yajanti Hi Sumedasha. Sumedasha means good intelligence, fine theistic intelligence. So this is what Srila Sridhar Maharaj is talking about. Try to follow this thread of what I'm speaking, Rama Devi Dasi. Don't worry so much about this, how they are speaking those other things. It only appears confusing. I'll explain it later. Now concentrate on this, okay? Concentrate on this. They're all talking about Krishna. And what Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying here is that persons with self-acquired intelligence from this Maya quarter cannot understand or appreciate that Radhadasyam, or the servitorship of Srimati Radharani, is indicated in this verse. The word Buddha refers to Sumedasha, as described in Srimad Bhagavatam, or the fine persons of fine theistic intelligence arising from direct connection with the transcendental plane. So, this Sumedasha is talking about Sankirtanam prayer. Yajanti hi sumedasha. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam. It's talking about Krishna, whose Varna or complexion is Tvisha Krishna, not black, but white or golden. Tvisha Krishna. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam. That he comes with his associates and his weapons. And what are his weapons? Sankirtana Yagya Sankirtana Prayer. The process of Sankirtan Yagya Sankirtana Prayer. Yajanti hi Sumedasha. And those persons with fine theistic intelligence will follow that. What is it that Mahaprabhu came to give in this Sankirtan Yagya that has never been given before? Samarpayitam Ujvala Bhakti Ujvala Samarpayitam Ujvala. No, I can't remember. That he has come to give this Radhadasyam. He has come to give, huh? Ujvala what? Not Tattva. No. Ujvala Rasa Swabhakti Sri. Ujvala Rasa Swabhakti Sriyam. Ujvala Rasa Swabhakti Sriyam. The Ujvala Rasa Swabhakti Sriyam refers to Manjari Bhav. So he's using that verse in his commentary to talk about Sumedasha. What is the Sumedasha that Mahaprabhu is bringing? Ujvala Rasa Svabhakti Sriyam. He is bringing this Manjari Bhav. Manjari Bhav. What is Manjari Bhav? Radhadasyam. So he's saying here, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that this word, Buddha, refers to the intelligence. Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha. It refers to the intelligence of Rag Bhakti in the service of Srimati Radhika in Radhadasyam. The inner guidance and direction they receive is the outcome of Sukriti, divine merit acquired by the association of sadhus, pure devotees. Bhava Samanvitaha means Raga Samanvitaha, Anurag, love and attraction, which is affinity not by strictly following scriptural rules or drawn from any plane of loss and gain, but from Bhav, from inner divine inspiration. Devotion of this high type is completely non-calculative, Gyan Shunya Bhakti, as described by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anyabilashita Shunyam Gyana Karmadi Anavritam Anakulyena Krishnana Shivanam Bhaktir Uttama. The highest devotion pleases the transcendental desires of Lord Krishna and is free from the external coverings of any pursuits based on the action and knowledge. So here, he is giving this indication that Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha indicates the practice of Ragmarg in the service of Srimati Radhika. He now will clarify that point in this next paragraph. The most rare and elevated stage of devotion is the line of spontaneous devotion, Ragmarg, known as Ragmarg. In that line, guided by the qualified guru, an elevated pure devotee may gradually come to render service to the leader of one of the groups of Krishna's personal associates, who serve the Lord in his pastimes of friendship, Sakya-ras, parenthood, Vatsalya-ras, consorthood, Madhurya-ras. In Vrindavan, the Lord is being served in spontaneous devotion by his friends such as Subal Saka, and by his parents Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda. Gopis such as Lalita and Vishaka serve him in conjugal love. But amongst all his associates, and amongst all the gopis, the higher order of divine loving service is rendered to the Lord by Srimati Radharani. Therefore, the acme of Rag Marg is to render service unto Radha, Radharani, Radhadasyam. This is the highest goal of the Rupanuga Gaudiya Sampradaya, the followers of pure devotion, as taught by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada in the line of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here we see how he's now bringing in the conception of Radhadasyam based on the words in this verse. Now, in the next verse, Machchata madgata pranas bodhayantas parashparam kantayantas chamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So, tushyanti, those surrendered devotees, those who are Buddha Bhava in Ragmark, take me as their life and soul. And they go on discussing my ambrosial narrations among one another, exchanging the ecstasies of devotion unto me. They constantly relish the nectar of their realized divine relationship with me and their respective internal natures of servitorship, friendship, parenthood, and consorthood. So he takes those last two words, Ramanti Tushyanti cha Vatsalya bhav, Ramanti cha Madhurya bhav. He makes the point here, Tushyantika, they find very much satisfaction. Up to the divine relationship of parenthood, Vatsalya ras, there is a feeling of satisfaction. Furthermore, Ramanti cha, just as a wife enjoys conjugal relationship with her husband, the devotee similarly feels such ecstasy in my intimate company, Krishna is saying, in my intimate company when speaking about me. And he's talking from the perspective of Krishna explaining this verse. This has also been explained by Srila Baladeva Vijayabhushan and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So now we've got a person who's in Bhav, right? Buddha Bhava Samandita, who's in Ramanticha, who's a wedded wife of Krishna, who's an intimate consort of Krishna. So now this next verse. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tvam yenamam upayanti te. I give them the intelligence to come closer to me. How close can they come? They're in Bhav, they're in Ragmark. They're in a mood of Ramanticha, consorthood, Madhurya Bhav with Krishna. How close how does he bring them closer then? From consorthood, from married Swakiya Ras, how will he bring them closer? Parakiya Ras. So this word, he says here, therefore in the expression Evamam upayanti te, they will come to me. The word upayanti must be defined as parakiya bhavena upapati. Pati means husband, and upapati means paramour. For those who have already come into a divine relationship with me as wife, Ramanti, I give them the special inspiration to come to me as paramour, upapati. So he actually changes the verse from upayanti to upapati in order to indicate the depth of the rasa tattva that is being explained here. In Vrindavan, Lord Krishna is not considered as a lawful husband, but as the Lord of the heart, transcendental to even the husband, parakiya ras, deceiving their husbands The gopis of Vrindavan unite with Krishna. They do not allow a second party to come between them and Krishna. They cannot allow the interception of even scriptural regulation and social law, because Krishna's position is absolute, and such a relationship is more relishable to him. It's more relishable to him to have Parakiya Ras than Swakiya Ras. This is Vrindavan Bhajan, and this is the meaning of Upapati. This is the meaning of Upapati. Vikraditam Vrajavaduvir idam cha Vishnu Shradhan Vito Nustrinuyad Ata Varnayad Ya Bhaktim Padama Bhagavati Pratilabhya, an injection, Kamam, Ridrogam means the disease of the heart, Asva Aptanoti Acharena Dira, a self-controlled, sense-controlled person who, having become endowed with sublime faith in the divine pastimes transcendently enjoyed by Lord Krishna with the gopis, Ras Lila, and who, having heard these divine pastimes from the lotus mouth of a bona fide guru, continuously sings or narrates these glories, such a person swiftly achieves the most elevated form of pure devotion for the Lord and is promptly able to ward off the heart disease of lust. First, Pratilabhya, the bhakti, the rasa tattva, the rasa bhakti is injected in the heart, and the injection of that Madhurya Ras into the heart cleans the heart of the lust. The lust is vanquished. This is the point. All right. So, this is an hour and a half lecture now. I am becoming a little bit tired. But I was a little bit inspired by talking about those 4 verses. Rama Devi Dasi has asked me a question. When we see the Supreme Personality Narayan, this refers to Krishna in his two-handed form? I always get a little confused with this. Krishna Govinda is his two-handed form, is always existing in Goloka Vrindavan. So it's correct to say Govinda is the source of Brahma, but Prabhupada says Narayan here, not Govinda. Why is that? Krishna is the source. This is what Advai Gyan Paratattva means. Advai Gyan Paratattva means that nothing is separate from Krishna. Okay? Krishna is the source of Balaram. Balaram is the source of Mula Sankarshan. Mula Sankarshan is the source of Mahasankarshan. Mahasankarshan is the source of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is the source of Garbhodakshay Vishnu and Kiradakshay Vishnu, Paramatma. And from the navel of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, the lotus comes and Brahma is on that lotus. So is Krishna, your question, is Govinda in Goloka the source of Brahma? Indirectly, yes, because without Krishna there's no Balaram, there's no Sankarshan, there's no Mahavishnu, there's no Garbhodakshay Vishnu. They're all manifestations of Krishna. So in order to establish Advai Gyan Paratattva, this point, sometimes they will interchangeably say the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narayan is Krishna, or like this, because there are 64 qualities of God. The spirit souls have 50 qualities. Then Brahma and Shiva have 5 more qualities. Then Narayan, he has 5 more qualities to 60. Those 5 qualities are being able to manifest universes from the pores of his body, to manifest the spiritual world, to manifest all these things. So this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And so in this way, Narayan is understood as the Supreme Personality. He is also Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, there are 4 more qualities. Those 4 more qualities are only for Govinda in the spiritual, in Goloka. And those all really deal with Rasa Tattva, because it's Rupa Madhuri, the sweetness of Krishna's form. It's Venu Madhuri, the sweetness of Krishna's flute. It's Leela Madhuri, the sweetness of Krishna's pastimes in Braj. And Prema Madhuri, the sweetness of Krishna's praying between him and his devotees, where they don't see him as God. They see him as a little cowherd boy. So these 4 deal with Rasa Tattva, okay, not Advaigyan Paratattva. So sometimes, in order to establish that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Advaigyan Paratattva, they interchangeably say, oh, Narayan, because Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in Rasa Tattva, Krishna is supreme. No one is equal to Krishna, no one is superior to Krishna, and nothing is separate from Krishna. This is Advaigyan Paratattva. So I hope that helps to answer your question, Rama Devi Dasi. Okay? Did that help you? All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the lecture tonight. I greatly appreciate it. My good friend Tarun Krishna Tarak Pandya, a great Brahmin astrologer, has come to hear the lecture. And he will be traveling with me in India when I do my tour of India. You're welcome, Ram. When I do my tour of India, my assistant will be Tarun Krishna Tarak Pandya. He will go with me all over India. So, thank you very much for all of you coming and hearing the class and understanding about Bhagavad Gita, Gita Jayanti, and understanding the different beautiful explanations by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Baldev Vijayabhushan, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, all of the great acharyas who have given us so much to understand about Bhagavad Gita. We offer our humble obeisances at their lotus feet and beg that they should bless us, that this knowledge of Gita will be revealed in our hearts. Thank you very, very much, everyone, for coming to hear the lecture tonight. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Jaya Gita Jayanti Jaya Gita Jayanti Jaya Gita Jayanti Jaya Gita Jayanti Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva Nitai Gaur Haribo 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 Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudeva ki, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki, Srila Baladev Vijayabhushan ki, Srila Sridhar Maharaj ki, Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo, Gita Jayanti ki jai.